Have you ever considered that a locked door is nothing more than an illusion of safety? A friend of mine thought so too, until she checked her apartment's security footage. 2 a.m. Two small hooded figures standing inches from her door. They didn't move for 10 minutes. And when a child's whisper drifted through the woods saying, "Mom, we're home, let us in," she remembered the one thing that mattered. There were no children in her building, and she didn't have a family. Today, I'm going to tell you why sometimes it's better to stay away from the people when you hear the sound of children laughing. It all started normally enough. She had just moved into a new apartment. Ground floor, beautiful courtyard, luxury complex. You know that feeling? When you think that behind a gate with security guards and keycard locks, you're finally safe. But that sanctuary quickly began to feel like a cage. It started with footsteps. Late at night, she'd hear the sound of small feet running down the hallway, right outside her door. She'd check the peephole every single time, but there was never anything there. She tried to tell herself it was just the building settling, or noisy neighbors, until the sounds moved to her windows. One night, she was jolted awake by giggling right outside her bedroom. Since she was on the ground floor, the windows were low, close enough for someone to reach out and touch the glass. Thinking it was just local kids pulling a prank, she tapped on the pane and hissed for them to go away. Their laughter stopped for a heartbeat, and then came a rhythmic tapping from the other side. She ripped the curtain open, but the courtyard was bathed in moonlight and completely empty. There was physically no way anyone could have vanished that fast. A few days later, she was called into the manager's office. The manager and a security guard were sitting there, looking like they'd just seen a ghost. They silently turned the monitor toward her and hit play. What she saw defied logic. On the grainy footage, two small figures in deep hoodies approach her door. They stand so close their foreheads are almost touching the wood. And then, they just stop. The timestamp on the video ticks away. 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They don't twitch. They don't look around. They stand there like statues in the dark corridor. At the very end of the clip, one of them slowly, almost mechanically, reaches for the handle, jerks it once, and then they both skip away out of frame. A week later, the nightmare moved from the screen into her living room. It was dead silent when she heard it. The sound of her door handle slowly turning. Down and up, down and up. She froze in the hallway, heart hammering against her ribs, too terrified to breathe. And then, a whisper came from the other side. A thin, childish voice that sounded like ice down her spine. "Mom, we're home. Just open the door." Then a second voice, slightly louder, almost pleading. "Please, let us in. It's so cold out here." She screamed that she was calling the police and that she wasn't their mother. The response wasn't a retreat. It was a burst of jagged, hysterical laughter, followed by a heavy thud, as if someone had thrown their entire body weight against the door. By the time the police arrived, the hallway was a tomb. No footprints, no forced entry, and every security gate was still locked tight. Later, the manager pulled her aside and told her a detail that still keeps her up at night. The woman who lived in that apartment before her had lost 2 children under very strange, very dark circumstances. The details were buried to protect the complex's reputation. But the most terrifying part isn't the ghosts. It's the question that remains. How did they get past the security gates without a key? And why are they so certain that their mother is still waiting for them on the other side of that door?